Sound check, 1, 2.
This is the 217 Recovery Podcast with Corey Winfield, Ryan Beckman, and Chris Goss.
No Ryan Beckman again.
Gosh, that's like 2 in a row?
Sure what he's doing. He said I work him all the time.
I don't know about that. I hardly see him.
Yeah, sure what Ryan's doing.
I know he tries to do accents, not so.
He just makes words up. He's from Canada, so you'd expect
He's
that.
a youper. He says use.
But I'm here. My name's Corey Winfield.
And I'm Chris Goss.
And this is the 217 Recovery Podcast.
Welcome.
Where we talk about recovery here and there, and we also talk about life. And today we have a very special guest. We're going to call her Shaquita. Shaquita from Benton Harbor. Is that where you're from, Shaquita?
Absolutely.
Oh, can we say your name or just not?
You can say my first name.
Shaquita.
Shaquita.
Nice to meet you,
I thought
Shaquita.
Shaquita was your first name. And your middle name was...
Okay.
To the show, Shaquita.
That works for me. We can go with that. We'll roll with that.
You know, we had this lady on the other day that I don't know if she would want to be associated with you, so we can call you Shaquita.
Okay. That works for me.
Okay. Perfect, Queet.
What's
That's
up?
close.
So,
That's close to something else. Queet.
Jesus,
I call her
don't even
Queet.
start. Don't even start.
Hey,
So,
Quita.
so your name's Shaquita. What should we call you? Cool Shaquita or
I think we should call her Quita.
Quita?
You can just call me Queen.
Okay.
Queen. Wow.
Queen.
Wow.
Do you have a tiara?
So,
I do. Don't make me bring it out.
Oh, shit.
all right. Quita has a crazy story. Now, Quita is not actually a person in recovery. She wasn't suffering from substance use disorder. She was suffering from someone who had a substance use disorder. And, wow, what a story this is. Now, you told me this story about a month ago, and then because the FCC, because they don't monitor the internet, but we'll just say the FCC
ATF?
made us take it down.
Wow.
I know. But they really didn't. But yeah.
Donuts,
Jesus made
ice
us take
cream.
it down.
Jesus made us take it down.
If
You're
I was
right.
going to wear a robe today. I should have
Oh,
worn
you
the
thought
white
Dick
robe.
took us down? No.
Not me.
Donuts, ice cream, chocolate did not take us down.
Not by any means.
That's a division of the government that I'm working on starting, Dick.
Yeah, figure that out.
You don't want Dick to get you.
No.
Jesus Christ.
Because, okay, this goes back to the episode back in June. ATF, alcohol, tobacco, firearms. The reason why they created that is because they knew all three of those things kill people. And they wanted to protect them.
So people don't kill people?
Well, now they're protected. Now they got rights, and I got this thing.
Oh,
so
gotcha.
when I form Dick, I'm going to protect donuts, ice cream, and chocolate. Because they're going to really... Because, I mean, they're running out of things. So once I form that way we can protect our Dick, and that way you can have Dick forever. I mean, the donuts, the ice cream. Well, that's what they say. They say ATIF.
I know.
They don't say ATF. They say ATIF.
Atif?
Yeah, ATIF
Sounds like
forever.
a sneeze. Atif. Atif.
So
Wait, who refers to this?
Is Dick? Or
Itif.
Atif.
oh, isn't that how they? Nobody just walks around and
I
says,
don't
"Oh, the ATF's going to come shut us down." They go, "ATIF is coming."
Atif.
Oh.
Bless you.
I don't know.
I mean, I'm not going to walk around and go, "Oh, DIC." And then people are like, "Why is he just spelling Dick?"
I mean,
Clearly,
so
doesn't have a
uncomfortable
case, so
right
it's
now.
not like a part of a body. Everybody can see that.
Sorry, Corey's mom.
Oh, Jesus.
I wanted to hear the...
Man.
He knows what's up. That's Tyrone. Quita's looking like, who's that, man?
Oh,
That's
shit.
Tyrone.
That's T-Rizzle, Dark Knight. Should have brought him with us, but he was off on a business function.
Give him money to give me so I can make or go buy T-shirts and sweatshirts that he can give people. He's now
Merch, they call
funding people and giving people T-shirts.
Call it
217
merch.
Recovery.
I mean, I'm still waiting on mine.
And he said, "You gonna give her a shirt today, Corey?" I said,
I was going to bring
have
one, but I figured you already had like the hat, the hoodie, the shirt.
I expect it to be pink.
Well, if you make a donation,
Don't test the queen. I don't want to see
Yeah.
the queen.
I mean, when my donation comes through in a couple months,
Oh,
Okay.
Good God.
It doesn't.
I'm just going to sit back and watch this. I'm sitting in a nice, comfortable chair. It looks like bear fur behind me. I wasn't leaning back because I'm afraid I'm going to get on my shirt. I don't like hairs and stuff.
Okay, so I don't know how you got us off on Dick, Chris.
I didn't get you on. Shut up.
You did get me off on Dick.
Shut up. That's if. Bless me.
Well, if I was looking around for him, they're going to come shut us down right at the coffee shop.
No, that
But
was a sneeze.
back to Courtney, or to Quita.
Queen.
Well, you're not a person in recovery, but
I am not.
You are very close to the subject because you had somebody in your life that was
I had a loved one that suffered from addiction.
How'd that start? What happened? He was your high school sweetheart? And,
No. So, I'm not originally from northern Michigan.
What?
I moved up here and, was doing my own thing for a couple of years. I met my ex-husband who was in the military. We eloped before he went on a deployment. I was young.
How long were you guys dating before you decided to get married?
Almost a year.
Okay, so it wasn't like 2 weeks later.
No,
hey,
but
if I get killed, you get all the money.
No, but we weren't always together either because he was doing. He's down in Texas for a while or Washington for training. So it's not like we were always. We were together for a year, but yeah, looking back on it now, if I wasn't so naive and young, it might have been a different story, but. You don't have life experiences when you're 22 years old to, learn
find
from.
them young, Chris.
Yeah. Find them young, then they don't know the difference.
Thanks,
they don't know
Darian.
what an addiction is. They don't know what abuse is.
Well,
We don't do the abuse thing.
Oh.
But
Chris Brown.
I'm just saying they're naive.
right. Yes.
So
Taking notes.
Yes.
That didn't work in my favor.
I know, that's what I'm saying. All right, so
as we progress, we eloped. They're looking back on it now. There was definitely signs of alcoholism and things of that sort. But I didn't know the difference. I wasn't raised in the upbringing of having to deal with addiction at all in my childhood.
I
didn't see it, so I didn't know what it was. And nor mental health, for that matter. So the anxiety, the depression, the PTSD, this is all foreign to me. I had no idea what this even looks like. And it evolved into us. I had my first child. He was home from deployment, and he was working in Traverse City. He got impaled by a tree branch. He broke his clavicle, severed his brachial vein, punctured his lung, and broke his top 3 ribs.
Explain how that happened.
He was working on a job. He was an arborist. He was working on a job cutting down the 13th tree. And when he cut down the tree, a piece of dead limb fell out of another tree. And it came straight down and punctured him right in the shoulder area, right down into his lungs.
So a hard hat wouldn't have helped.
Yeah. I mean, he basically saved his own life. He had a cigarette packet in his pocket.
Imagine that.
Yeah. And he took the cellophane off of it, and because it was a sucking chest wound. And he knew this from his military training. So he put the plastic over top of it. He lay down, he elevated his legs, and, he was the foreman. So the other guys on they call the ambulance in. He had to get flight lifted to the hospital. My son was 3 weeks old.
Good grief.
So he ended up in the ICU, and then on the floor. At this time, it was 2010 when this happened, and this was before the opioid epidemic. This is when it's starting to happen, right? And we're not realizing what's going on, and we're just handing out the oxys like there's no tomorrow. He ends up
pharma.
Yep, he ends up becoming addicted to the Oxycontins. He's crushing them up and putting them in his coffee, and things that should have been red flags, but I just chose not to think about it. And he got so skinny. I remember one night he was sitting in the bathroom, and he was half asleep and fell off the toilet and hit his head on the wall. And at that point I was this is just not okay. Like, there is something seriously wrong. And, it got to the point that I didn't even want to be at home anymore. Like, I would rather be at work than be at home. How sad is that? Like, when your life comes to that, like... So, one night, I came home from work, and he was out of beer. And he asked me to go get him beer. And he didn't have a driver's license. And I told him absolutely not. I wasn't going to get him more beer. And he asked if he could hold our child. And I told him absolutely not because he was intoxicated. And he said, if I can't even hold my own child, then what's the point of me even being here? And he had firearms upstairs. And I said, if you go and get your gun, I'm calling the cops. My son was 6 months old at this time. And the cops ended up breaching our door and took him into custody and took him to jail. And he goes to jail that night, and in his bail was for me to show proof that he had an appointment with a therapist. So the next day, I find him a therapist. I end up actually finding him a therapist that had Army training. So he had been in the Army himself, came out, and then went and got his master's degree in social work. And he was a blessing. He helped him get disability from the VA and get on the right path with that. And, after that, he was sober for about 3 years,
So you're thinking, okay, this was an incident, this was a turning point. Mm-hmm. It was something bad that happened, but he was getting help, so it's fine. Like,
yep, I thought that this was it. Like, he was on probation. He was doing, he was blowing and taking random urine tests. He was on the straight and narrow. Well, little to my knowledge, we get off of probation, and here we go. It starts. You're drinking, not drinking, drinking, not drinking. I remember one night I got so sick of him drinking, I took his beer that he had in the fridge and I shook it up, and he was sitting outside, and I took a screwdriver and I just punctured it right in the side and sprayed it in his face.
Wow.
And then I just
you are a queen.
Threw it out into the woods, and then I would take the glass liquor bottles and throw them against the trees out in the backyard because I would get so frustrated and angry with him. And then he would just take off and be gone for the night.
But there's no right way. There's no book on. Well, there might be a book on what you should do because everybody's different. Every case is different. Every situation, relationship is different. That might have worked for somebody. You didn't know what to do. You were young. You were naive. And you just wanted it to stop. You're frustrated. Would this get his attention? I don't know.
It's also embarrassing. It's embarrassing because you don't want other people to know what you're going through. You don't want other people to know that your spouse is an addict.
Was he still prescribed the oxys on the probation because of his
No.
injuries?
After he got in trouble, he was off of them.
But he just did that, kept it on the straight and narrow to get off probation. Then once off probation,
right? And once he got off of probation, he didn't go back to pills. He was drinking. And it was he never really drank liquor. It was more just beer, Liquor, he got really mean. And I couldn't, it was it would be bad for me to be around if he was drinking liquor because I never knew if he was going to hurt me or not. And, he had gotten arrested for domestic violence and, so not only, abuse mentally but physically as well, and it's hard because you look at it as, well, that there's a good person under there. There's always a good person. This is only the case when they're drinking, or this is the case when they're taking pills. You don't give up that hope. You can't give up that hope. And then also there's that embarrassment level. You don't want
that stigma.
Right.
You were walking through town and they're like, oh, look at that guy, and look at she's, you don't want to think, you don't. Yeah,
we definitely kept that white picket fence, family is perfect aspect. You never know what happened behind our closed doors.
For a while.
Yeah. So then let's hit the fast forward button, right?
Hold on, we got a baby step into this. I don't think Chris is ready. So.
How are you going to prep him?
Then, as the family waits in the basement. I don't. That always is one of those TV shows. Then,
yeah, I get it.
The kids were downstairs, all alone. Quita.
Well,
All right, so-
I have to prepare myself for this.
So, there's a good guy in there.
Yep.
But it's like, okay, he's back to the drinking. You are getting frustrated. You don't know what to do. You don't want to tell anybody about it because it's your guys' business. But damn it, you're frustrated. And, this isn't going to stop.
So things start getting